Hi, welcome back to my video series. My name is Dr. Erin Bow and I'm a clinical and perinatal psychologist, and I also teach hypnobirthing. Today we're up to the letter L. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the language of birth, or rather the language of how to have a positive birth, because I think these days it's actually pretty tricky to have a positive birth when we've got this background of language, particularly medical language around birth, that is really negative. I mean, just the kind of phrases that get thrown about, like failure to progress, incompetent cervix, things like that. I mean, they're all based around failure, and sometimes birth is talked about as if you as a birthing woman, that you're a passive participant rather than an active participant. So doctors deliver babies, or they catch babies, or they do an intervention. We hear less about like the mum's role in that. So even when you hear like maybe in the news hospital stories about some doctor who did a natural breech birth, and isn't that fantastic? And there's like no credit to the mum, like as if she didn't have a part in it and she didn't do anything. So I think we need to change the way that we think about how we actually talk about our births. So there's kind of 2-3 words that I guess I'd like you to think about actually taking out of your vocabulary, partly because your subconscious responds to direct requests. Whatever you tell yourself over and over and over and over kind of gets built up as if it's this familiar thing that you don't have to think about. So one word that I really cringe whenever I hear people talking about it to do with pregnancy and labour and birth is let or allow. So when people ask, oh, am I allowed to do that? Oh, will the hospital let me do that? And it seems kind of funny because, I mean, it's your birth, it's your baby, it's your pregnancy. It's not about what you're allowed and what you're not allowed to do, as if you're kind of being infantilized. So I think to feel kind of like a, powerful, confident woman who's very capable, and who's very capable of having a calm and positive birth, we need to take those words out and maybe think about choosing different language, about asking, what are my choices? What are my options? Not saying, am I allowed to do this? Or saying, oh, the hospital wouldn't let me do that. Just because it puts us in more of a passive role again. So, you have your care providers in the hospital as a business, as being people who are in charge, when ultimately you're the one who has to deliver the baby yourself. So it's about what's right for you, and not thinking about what suits other people, which I've talked about before in my videos. The other one that I think is tricky is this word try, and I have talked about that before too, that try is not a direct statement. It's quite confusing for your brain. It doesn't really give you a direction to go in. So whilst, I totally understand why sometimes people are reluctant to say, really firm, I'm going to have a positive birth, I'm going to have a natural labour if that's what I want to do, I'm going to have a water birth, I'm going to have whatever it is that you want to have, and instead they say try. Oh, I'll try not to use pain meds, I'll try to have a natural labour. It's much more, I suppose, powerful and confidence boosting if you just stick to the statement that you actually want, that's positively framed. So I am going to do this, I'm going to do this calmly and confidently, I am going to aim for a natural birth, I am going to do this, rather than saying, oh, I'll try. Because more often than not, it ends up going not the way you want it to anyway, because you didn't really have that, I suppose, internal commitment in the first place. And the thing is, if labour takes a turn that's not your optimal or first preference, so there are interventions, or you do decide that you want pain relief, which are all within your right. This isn't about saying that you shouldn't do those things. It's just, you've got to think, okay, there's no point protecting yourself so that what people are going to come back and say to you, oh, but you said you were going to do this. You have people in your life who, when they, hear that you've given birth to your baby and find out that you did something you said you weren't going to do, and are focusing on that rather than how you're feeling and how you're adjusting and how's baby going and all that kind of stuff, they're not people you want in your life anyway. So I think this need to, protect our ego and protect ourselves from people who are going to be critical. It's a waste of your energy. If you focus on what it is that you want and you keep affirming it and having other people affirm it and say it really positively, you're going to walk into your Labor Day, afternoon, night, whatever it ends up being, feeling more confident that you actually know what it is that you want. And you're more likely to be able to stick to that and not, I suppose, maybe when you hit transition and you're feeling really vulnerable and you're feeling in a bit of a flap, that you're more vulnerable to other people telling you what you should do. And you'll go back into that, oh, this is what I'm allowed to do, this is what I'm not allowed to do. So something we teach in hypnobirthing is being really mindful of creating yourself some positive affirmations or coping statements that are things that are meaningful to you. So not phrases that you don't agree with or don't sit right for you, but coming up with some sort of confident language that fits what you want for your birth. And it might be, a great one is, I calmly take whatever journey my birthing takes. You know, it might be something like, I'm strong, I'm capable, I can do this. So thinking about framing it in the positive and in the present, rather than saying, oh, I'll try not to do this. It doesn't work. You need a really good, firm, directive, positive statement. And write them up, put them up on a mirror somewhere, print yourself out some positive affirmations from the internet, they're free. Or, you know, put them on sticky notes and put them on your mirror, put them on your fridge, put them somewhere where you'll see them and you'll practice them, because the language of birth is actually really, really, really important, and it's one of the first steps to actually making the difference between whether you feel calm and confident or whether you feel uncertain and fearful. Alright, so if you want to know any more about pregnancy, perinatal mental health, those kinds of things, look me up. You can find me at drerin.com.au and I'll put the links below. I always have blog posts and resources and things that follow on from these videos anyway. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.